Who should actually reach for this 4-in-1 plasma cutter, and who would be smarter walking away? If you're trying to decide whether to put a single machine on the workbench instead of juggling a separate MIG, TIG, and stick welder, the answer isn't as clear-cut as the marketing brochure makes it sound. And for the everyday hobbyist who just needs a reliable way to cut a little steel for a garden project, does the price justify the extra features? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, so keep that in mind while we dig into what this unit really does for you and where it might fall short. First off, the biggest source of hesitation for most buyers is the promise of 4-in-1 functionality. On paper it sounds like a Swiss Army knife for metalwork. You get plasma cutting, MIG, TIG, and stick welding all from a single inverter chassis. In practice, the unit tries to be a jack of all trades, but you quickly discover that each mode has its own set of compromises. For a casual DIYer who only needs to cut a few inch steel pipes for a fence, the plasma cutter portion works fine. The LCD shows you the current, the feed roller runs smoothly, and the machine is quiet enough not to drown out a backyard conversation. However, if you intend to take on serious aluminum TIG work, you'll notice the absence of a dedicated TIG torch, which means you're relying on the built-in torch that isn't optimized for high-precision aluminum welds. In short, it's a decent starter for occasional metal fixing, but not a substitute for a dedicated TIG system if you need spotless, aerospace-grade joints. Let's talk about daily usability. The digital LCD is straightforward. You dial in the amperage, switch modes with a button, and the machine gives you a clear readout of the voltage and current. That simplicity is a real win for someone who isn't comfortable hunting through menus on a more complex inverter. The wire feed roller is another practical strength. When you drop into MIG mode, the roller pushes the wire consistently, which means fewer jams and smoother welds on thin sheet metal. I tried it on 20-gauge steel for a simple repair on a garden cart, and the weld bead held up without any noticeable porosity. The silent welding claim also holds up. The fan noise is almost non-existent, a nice surprise if you're working in a garage that's attached to a living space. Now for the hidden trade-offs. Because the unit packs 4 programs into a single chassis, the power supply is spread thin. The 200A rating is sufficient for many hobby projects, but if you step up to thicker material, say, inch plate for a structural frame, you'll find the cut time dragging compared to a dedicated plasma cutter that can push 300A or more. The same limitation shows up in the stick welding mode. The electrode stick holder is fine for light reparations, but when you need deeper penetration on heavy steel, the output feels a bit underpowered. For those who expect one machine to replace a full-size industrial cutter, this will be a disappointment. Another practical weakness is the lack of a true gasless plasma option. The spec sheet mentions a gasless mode, but in reality you still need a supply of compressed air or an external gas source to get clean cuts on thinner material. That means you have to set up an air compressor or keep a gas tank nearby, which adds to the overall cost and footprint. If you imagined a truly portable, no-gas cutter for on-site jobs, you'll need to reconsider. The same goes for welding aluminum. The machine can weld aluminum, but only with a 100% pure argon shield. If you don't own a dedicated argon bottle, you'll have to purchase one, and the welding output isn't as stable as a purpose-built aluminum MIG. Who should buy this? If you're a hobbyist who already owns a basic MIG welder but wants to add plasma cutting without buying a second box, or if you're a small shop owner who needs a versatile tool for occasional repairs and light fabrication, this 4-in-1 unit offers enough flexibility to make the extra cost worthwhile. It's also a solid choice for someone who wants to experiment with different welding processes before committing to a specialized machine. You can try MIG, stick, and light TIG without investing in 3 separate inverters. The quiet operation and clear LCD make it user-friendly for beginners who might be intimidated by more complex setups. On the flip side, skip it if you're a professional fabricator who regularly cuts thick plate, needs high-speed plasma, or relies on precise TIG welding for critical joints. The power ceiling and the fact that the TIG torch isn't a separate accessory mean you'll be compromising on quality and speed. Similarly, if you're looking for a dedicated aluminum welding solution, you'll find the outputs inconsistent compared to a machine built specifically for that purpose. For those who value a compact footprint but need the highest possible output in each mode, a separate dedicated unit for each process will still be the better investment. What about value for money?